This is the regular meeting of the Mobile City Council, Tuesday, August 27th. Please stand for the invocation led by Rabbi Stephen Silberman and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you for your time. I'm Rabbi Abba Havas Chesed, the Historic Conservative Synagogue here in Mobile, and also a volunteer police chaplain, one of 9, under the leadership of our lead chaplain, Tony Laguerre. I speak from the Hebrew tradition. Today, my thought touches on Balaam. You may remember that he was engaged to curse the Israelites. His employer pressured him to insult people judged to be other because they looked different. 3 times he was called, curse them. 3 times he opened his eyes better, and he began to see who they were. They were people. He opened his eyes and he saw them as they were, like anyone else. And he offered words of appreciation and blessing. May we see our people as they are. Those who live in District 2 or District 5, every district, for we are all neighbors. And when we see each other as we all are, we will truly be blessed, and we will bring blessings into our community. May we so live. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
President Small.
Here.
Vice President Gregory. Here. Councilmember Penn.
Here.
Councilmember Carroll.
Here.
Councilmember Reynolds.
Here.
Councilmember Daves.
Here.
Councilmember Woods.
Here.
Statement of rules.
And good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It's good to see everyone this morning. Welcome to our August 27, 2024 meeting. At this meeting, we do have rules. At this time, I ask if anyone have any type of electronic devices, including cell phones, please at this time put it on the off or the vibrate position. To address the council must sign in indicating the ordinance, the resolution, a public hearing agenda item before entering the meeting. When addressing the council, the speaker must give his or her name. Any person that is desiring to speak to the council on a non-agenda item must contact the city clerk's office no later than 2:00 p.m. the Thursday prior to the council meeting. The subject that he or she wishes to express to the Mobile City Council must be identified and pertain to the City of Mobile business. Anyone who has not given proper notice to the city clerk's office and wishes to speak on a non-agenda item would not be allowed to address the council. Each speaker is allowed 3 minutes to address the council. A bell will sound to indicate the end of 2 minutes. 1 minute remains for summarizing. The second bell indicates that your time has expired. When addressing the council, there will be no personal address to any individual council members. All statements are to be made to the chair, who will recognize any council member who wishes to respond. To maintain decorum, there will be no undue applause or public outcry allowed. Madam Clerk.
Approval of minutes of August 20th.
So moved. Second. Moving second in discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Minutes approved.
Communications from Mayor Stimpson.
Well, good morning. Large crowd this morning. Appreciate you being here. There must be a lot of things going on with the city council today to create all the interest. But again, thank you. I'd like to just point out that, last Wednesday, we had what we called the Celebration of Life for the Mobile Civic Center, seeing as that it was be torn down pretty soon. It's 60 years old. And I felt like it was a very fitting send-off. Councilman Small allowed us to use one of his hearses for the ceremony. If you hadn't seen that hearse, I would suggest that you look it up online. Actually, the interior demolition of the Civic Center, I'd say the Expo Hall and the theater, and then the arena, they're actually doing the asbestos abatement right now. Probably mid-September is when they'll actually start with the external demolition. And no, there will not be a wrecking ball, as seen in some pictures. Actually, they just take it down with track hose. But anyway, that'll start. It'll take a couple of months, probably, I think it's sometime by November. They hope that it'll all be torn down. Any citizens that are interested in knowing the progress, not just of the demolition, but of the construction project as it goes forward, there's a way to opt in for text messages that'll be forthcoming, and that's the texting updates. If you will go to Mobile New Arena, that's Mobile New Arena with the numbers 91896. Mobile New Arena 91896. Obviously, I will be making periodic updates as we go forward from here, but that's a good way to stay up, probably in closer contact with it. Last week, in conjunction with city staff and some of the personnel board members, we made presentations, 3 different presentations to police and firemen having to do with what we're referring to as our new public safety pay plan. And over time, what we have found out, and I will say over time, probably 50 years. I've been the mayor for the last 10. But what has happened is that previous mayors and city councils, in the attempt to having competitive pay, what we've done is we've had a Band-Aid solution through addressing the issue by having incentives for different positions. And over the period of time, we realized that was only a Band-Aid approach, and really we needed to do something significant to fix the pay plan. So the presentation that we made is we're confident that it simplifies the plan. We've made the salaries more competitive, and it will run somewhat simultaneously. The approval of it goes through the personnel board, not through the city council. And so the person involved in this process, and they will actually vote to approve this plan on September 17th. We're of the opinion that everybody will gain from this, and the numbers would tell you that our beginning salaries right now about 43,600, and it'll go to about $51,200 after the passage of the new budget. Is it 51,400, which will put Mobile in a much better position than we've been in a long time as far as being competitive. And there's no way to adequately stress the significance of being able to hire qualified and retain qualified people. And we feel like that this new pay plan will help us do that, so that ultimately you as citizens will be better served for the outcome of what we think we can achieve with that. So I have 2 proclamations. I'm actually going to go to the podium, and I would ask to join me at the podium for the first one. Will be Dr. Ashley Williams, who I see up in the audience, along with Dr. Hogue, and also maybe is Daphne Portis here. So if y'all can join me at the podium. The proclamation reads, whereas the U.S. Surgeon General, Dr. Vivek Murthy, let me get this where I can see it, declares gun violence a national public health crisis. And whereas in 2023, gun violence among teenagers resulted in 1,406 deaths and 3,888 injuries. And whereas Alabama ranks 4th in the U.S. for gun violence, with these injuries causing more youth deaths than any other illness. And whereas gun violence disproportionately affects youth, young adults, and communities of color, causing both physical harm and psychological trauma, including stress and coping difficulties. And whereas August is Youth Empowerment Month, and whereas USA Health Project Inspire is a hospital-based injury prevention program that combats gun violence through youth empowerment. And whereas we urge Mobilians to support youth empowerment and public safety initiatives. And whereas we encourage Mobile's youth to take positive action. And whereas we call upon the justice, education, and health systems, policymakers, and leaders to unite in reducing gun violence, empowering the most vulnerable. Now, therefore, I, William S. Stimson, the 108th Mayor of the City of Mobile, do hereby proclaim August 26th through 30th, 2024 as Project Inspire Week. Congratulations and thanks for what you do. Yeah, do you want to make a few remarks? Huh? You'll hold that.
Yes. Thank you very much.
No remarks. Okay, very good. Okay, it's also Alabama Foster Appreciation Week. And the proclamation attendees are Robert Bryan, I think Robert is here, Stacy Yawn, an animal resource supervisor, Liberty Collier, and Cheyenne Fuller. And I think they have two puppies with them that they're bringing down. And the puppies are named Sophia and Elmo. This one's this. So this is Sophia, okay? And just turn around with me. So now, this is Elmo, okay? So I'm gonna read it and then we'll take a picture, okay? But let them look at the dogs. Yeah. And for yours, for $1, they can belong to you. Okay. So, whereas the City of Mobile Animal Services Foster Program is a great opportunity for everyone who wants to help our local shelter pets, and whereas fostering a pet has many benefits, such as providing pets with a calm, safe environment to stay in while they wait to be adopted, which improves their adoptability, and whereas by providing daily care for a foster pet, fosters become an animal's greatest advocate and play a crucial role in connecting them to a forever home. And whereas fostering helps animal shelters and rescue organizations by alleviating the overcrowding and stressful environment at shelters. And whereas the City of Mobile Animal Services would like to thank their fosters and volunteers who help the shelter daily by feeding and walking the pets, providing love and attention, and helping get pets adopted. Now, therefore, I, William S. Stimson, the 108th Mayor of the City of Mobile, do hereby officially proclaim August 25th through 31st as Animal Foster Appreciation Week in the City of Mobile. Robert, would you like to make a few remarks? Let's get the picture and then you make remarks. So, you can back over just a little bit, and I'm going to let Charles hold it. Oh, yeah. Very good. Well behaved. Okay. Are y'all's children this well behaved as these dogs?
Good morning, Mr. President. So, we've been making huge strides in the way we do things in animal services, and our foster program is one of those things that we push heavily out to the community. It helps us at the shelter in so many ways, from getting these animals friendly, to getting them socialized, to letting the community know that we're out there and what we do. And so the more foster parents we have, the better it is. We can get these animals out, and they can socialize them so much better than we can in a shelter environment. I know many of you have been to the shelter before, and you can imagine what the difference on an animal's mental well-being would be versus being at the shelter versus being in somebody's house. So the benefits of having a foster program are untold. And for all of those out in the crowd today, it's your opportunity. So come and foster for us, and believe me, we will not be bad if you don't bring it back.
I just want to say that under Robert's leadership, we've made tremendous strides in the animal shelter and all aspects of it. So for you and your team, Robert, we want to give you one more big round of applause. Thank you. Thank you. Well done. And Mr. President, that concludes. So Chief Jackson, you want to make the first award?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, council, for having us here today. Before us here today, we have Officer Brian Ankerson. Brian is a very proactive officer. He helped reduce crime in the 3rd Precinct significantly. In the previous month, he had 93 calls for service with 36 backings. It led to 20 felonies, 27 misdemeanors. He seemed like every car he stopped, he got drugs out of. He also caught numerous D&E subjects that broke into vehicles and a residential burglary. And I would also like to thank his family that are here for him today. He's got a whole row, I think. So with that, Officer Ankerson,
So if his family could please rise. His family members there, if y'all will please stand.
thank you, council.
I'd also add that Officer Ankerson played center for USA. Is that correct, Officer?
Yes.
Yep, well done. All right. Chief Morris. Chief Morris will now introduce the
President.
Officer of the Month.
Mr. President, Miss-
nays and Carol.
I'd just like to thank the Ankerson family for being here today. The Ankerson family has been a strong supporter across its breadth and width of the city of Mobile for years and years and years, and it's nice to see a younger man continuing that path of service. Thank you all for being here today.
oh,
And congratulations to you, officer.
yeah. Thank you, Mr. President. Let me extend the same warm greetings to the Ankerson family. I know the young Ankerson played at South Alabama, but that older Ankerson sitting back there is also a Hall of Famer over in the McGill family. Thought he was an excellent athlete also during the day. But, man, congratulations to you and much continued success.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good morning, Council President, Council, esteemed Council. Mobile Fire and Rescue Department proudly recognizes Captain Robert A. Brown as our firefighter of the month for the month of July. He joined the department over 13 years ago. He's been one of our outstanding captains for the last 3. He's here today with his wife, and I'm here with my chief of staff, Chief Blisson. He's a captain of Engine 8. He's a hazmat tech, and he's also one of our rescue technicians. I can tell you right now, everybody's seen him before. Last month, it was a window washer that was trapped on the top of the RSA towers. He was stuck. Captain Brown and his crew went and got that young man out of that predicament. And Captain Brown himself, he was a supervisor. He was in charge of the crew. And he decided, you know what, we have a lot of young people. We have some experience, but I got the most experience. I'm the supervisor. I'm the leader. I'll go. So he's the one that the newspapers and radios and TV saw him go over the edge to repel to get that young man. So he's our firefighter of the month. People didn't see the first picture when he first stepped on the ledge. His eyes and pupils were dilated. Hey, he's almost 500 feet in the air. And he decided to do it, and he got on that edge, and if you rappelled or ever jumped out or on the ledge, you're thinking about a lot of stuff. He thought about his wife and his children. He thought about his brothers and sisters on the job, but he trusted them. They were trained. They had the perfect equipment. We want to thank the administration, the mayor, and thank you for that. We have the finest equipment in the whole region, in the whole nation. And he relied on his training, his teammates, his family. And when he took that dive, like I said, he had butterflies. We talked about it this morning. But when he rappelled down and got that young man and brought him up, and everybody cheered him from the street, and we was happy. One of the proudest moments being a fire chief, watching that operation from the command post and seeing his face. Again, thank you. Fighter of the month.
Thank you.
One other comment. You know, the Mobile Fire Rescue Department is an all-hazard rescue team. Not every fire departments have that designation of the personnel qualified to do that. So we're very fortunate in the city of Mobile to have those individuals who have the equipment, but also the training and the desire to, fit that bill. So thanks to Mobile Fire Rescue Chiefs. Thank y'all very much. And congratulations, Captain Browning. Yep. And Officer Ankerson. So I think there's supposed to be a picture, Candace, with the USA team. Yeah, so after Councilman Small does his presentation here, then I'll exit to have a picture with those from USA who are here.
We're going to ask the members from the Mobile County Health Department and the Mobile Community Health Workers Coalition. Are they available to come on down? Council, mayor, citizens of Mobile. To present a proclamation, and I guess we're going to have to take a picture outside. For the proclamation, whereas the Mobile County Health Department and the Mobile County Community Health Worker Coalition strive to recognize the importance of the role of the community health workers in Mobile County. And whereas the community health workers are frontline public health workers who are trusted members of and are having an unusual close and understanding of the community they serve. And whereas this trusting relationship enables the community health workers to serve as a liaison link between the health and social services in the community to facilitate access to services and improve the quality and culture of service delivered. And whereas a community health worker also builds individuals and community capacities by increasing health knowledge and self-sufficient through a range of activities such as outreach, community education, informing, counseling, social support, and advocacy. And whereas on September the 29th, 2023, Congress introduced a resolution recognizing community health workers as a profession and honor the significance of their vital roles in the community and public health. And whereas the community health workers are essential workforce whose unique core are indispensable to the health and well-being of the nations. And now, therefore, I, Council President C.J. Small of District 3, and the members of the Mobile City Council, along with Mayor William S. Stimpson, in support of the efforts to advance the health and safety in Mobile, Alabama, hereby do proclaim August the 26th through the 30th, 2024, as National Community Health Workers Awareness Week. Done at the city of Mobile, Alabama, on this 27th day of August, 2024, signed by the mayor and all 7 council members. Congratulations, and thank you all so much.
To the mayor, city council president, members of the city council, staff, and community members present, good morning. My name is Toki Dunn, and I am the director of community prevention programs at the Mobile County Health Department, which is housed under the Bureau of Community and Nutrition Services under the Directorate of Prevention and Wellness, where Dr. Stephanie Woods Crawford is executive director, and which falls under the leadership of Dr. Kevin Michaels, who is the health officer for Mobile County. Our Community Health Workers for COVID Response and Resilient Communities grant program is in partnership with the University of South Alabama Center for Healthy Communities, led by Dr. Ashley Williams, and a number of important key staff, including Dr. Antoinette Francis Shearer, who is the Health Education Manager. I am also a certified community health worker. I am more than honored to stand before you, accompanied by the many other certified community health workers present today in recognition of National Community Health Workers Awareness Week. Who are we? We are trusted frontline public health workers who have a unique understanding of the communities in which we live, work, and play, and who are pivotal in bridging the gap between our communities and healthcare and social systems. The grant program began 3 years ago to increase the number of community health workers and community partnerships, combat the effects of COVID-19, address health and social disparities heightened by COVID-19, and to create a Mobile County Community Workers Coalition. To date, we have certified 58 community health workers, created over 20 new community partnerships with both community and faith-based organizations, handled over 500 referrals, attended over 100 community health and outreach events, and reached over 4,000 community members through outreach education and clinical integration services. The USA Centers for Healthy Communities have hosted medical town halls where several local physicians and other providers come to the communities to answer questions and discuss important topics, including diabetes and maternal and child health. We are also proud to be included in our state efforts in recognizing the effective role of community health workers as a highly beneficial workforce. We are proud to be instrumental in the continued growth of the Alabama State Community Health Workers Coalition. This week is important as it highlights our work, commitment, and dedication to educate, encourage, and empower all our communities. From South Mobile County to North and every area in between, we thank you for recognizing our work and presenting this proclamation. Happy National Community Health Workers Awareness Week. Thank you.
Hey, before you all leave, I have one quick question, and thank you all for what you do, by the way. Just the question is, how does someone become certified?
Well, it'll go through a process. We do have a organization that we outsource. But the Mobile County Health Department, we're poised to I'm a certified trainer as well. So maybe within the next year or so, we can give out those classes.
Oh, good. That'd be great. Thank you. Thank you all so much for what you do for the community. Thank you. Mr. Penn, you have a...
Thank you, Madam Vice President. I know we still have Dr. Williams here. Dr. Williams, would you mind sharing, and congratulations, let's give the health department and all our health workers a big hand again. And you heard Dr. Williams' name mentioned so many times here today. We want to give her an opportunity to kind of share about the great works that's taking place, especially with Project Aspire.
That's great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'll take a moment to talk about Project Inspire. It's a program that was started back in 2018 with a very fundamental partnership with the Strickland Youth Center. Judge Naaman has been integral in standing up this program and has been very supportive ever since. Essentially, what we have put together is a program where we take kids who are at high risk for being both victims and perpetrators of gun violence. And we use the hospital as a venue to really build relationships between our students and each other, but also between our students, our participants, and caring adults. And these are volunteers who dedicate their time and their skill set and their expertise to pour into the lives of kids. While we do talk about, gun violence and why it affects us, how it affects us, how did we get to this place, that's for a very short time. And the majority of the program is pouring into their lives, equipping them, giving them the resources and the tools that they need to reach their full potential. And that, at the end of the day, that's the goal. While we do use the hospital as that venue to build relationships, we really see a lot of Mobile and a lot that Mobile has to offer, from cooking classes to tours of Bishop State to Dauphins. We eat well every week. That is our time to break bread, have those conversations, and then we do a host of activities. It lasts for a semester, and these students are coming from their schools, so their schools are supportive of them coming to be with us on Monday afternoons from 12 to 4 o'clock. And at the end of the semester, we have a huge graduation for them. All the volunteers are invited, their families, the community is invited. Anyone who's had a piece of time with them because they've achieved a lot. And I should say they all leave with certifications in both basic life support, Stop the Bleed, but also resumes. And many of them leave the program with jobs. So we really do focus on how do we get to that next step and how do we build out a plan, a detailed plan to get you to where you want to go in life. So it's been a wonderful program. We have had huge support from the City Council. Daphne, who you saw earlier come up, her position is completely paid for by our City Council, our city. And so that is a huge investment, and we're here to do everything that we can to make sure our students and their families are supported so they can reach their full potential. Thank you.
Can all the staff and volunteers from Project Inspire stand?
Yeah, we see a lot of folks in the audience. Thank you.
Let's give them a big hand. Thank you so much for your service and everything that you provide for our city.
Yes, thank you. It is certainly a group effort. Many of us are from USA, but you've seen people stand from Vets Recovery, Pastor Austin, Pastor Lou from Stewart Memorial. It really takes a village to raise our kids, and we live by that. And our slogan is, if we've inspired one, we've inspired many. Thank you.
Madam Clerk.
Monthly finance report.
Good morning, Mr. President.
Morning.
Well, I'm honored to work with so many people doing great work. I'd like to request that we move me up in the agenda because you're putting me behind a whole lot of people that are hard to follow. Anyway, for the month of July, I was looking forward to giving you a number that was going to be back in the black, but right at the end of the month, we moved $4.5 million to tear down the Civic Center. So we had a negative balance for the month of $2,068,000. And for the year to date, we're still running $12 million in the black.
Any questions or comments from the council?
Look forward to seeing y'all at one.
That $4 million came from the
Unassigned fund balance.
unassigned fund balance, correct? And you're telling me that there's still $12.5 million left in the unassigned fund balance?
No, 12. We're running in the black for the year.
For the black, okay. And how much is left in the unassigned fund balance?
134. Unassigned that is spendable is 87.
I just, Mr. Davis, I just wanted the general public to hear how much money we actually have in the unassigned fund balance that's not assigned to any project. So that's $87 million that's expendable. And we just spent $4.5 million on the contract to demo the Civic Center, correct?
Yeah, and a good portion of that will be going to the Civic Center.
Yes, sir, I understand. I'm here, which is a capital project.
Yes.
Thank
you. Anyone else?
Mr. President.
Mr. Penn.
And that 87 doesn't include our 2 months reserve, correct?
Correct. That's after the 2-month reserves comes out.
All right.
Anyone else?
Adoption of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Properly moving second in discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Agenda is adopted.
Appeals, we have requests for waivers of the noise ordinance at Cathedral Square on September 7th from 4 until 8 p.m. At Mardi Gras Park on September 14th from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. At 540 Texas Street on October 19th from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. At 28 South Reed Avenue on October 19th from 6 p.m. until 10 p.m. at Cathedral Square on March 22nd from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m., at Mobile Skate Plaza on October 24th from 7 p.m. until 9:30 p.m., at Matthews Park on February 28th from 3 p.m. until 9 p.m., and at Matthews Park on March 1st from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m.
So moved.
Second. Properly moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Appeal passes.
Public hearings. Today is the public hearing to consider the application of Safe Ride Transport to operate a sedan service.
This opened up the public hearing for this particular said item. Is anyone present that would like to address the council on this item? If not, this particular public hearing is closed.
Presentation of petitions and other communications to the council. Michael McFarland.
Is Mr. Matt Farner present? Madam Clerk?
Kenny Owen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I would like to thank the city council this morning for allowing me to speak on the subject matter of the cut-through traffic on Mohawk Street. This is in between Dolphin Street and Old Government, actually Airport Boulevard. I would like to thank Captain James Cunningham with the Mobile Police Department for actually providing these reports. I would also like to thank the administration for getting in touch with the Mobile Police Department. So the city policy is that 25% or more cut-through traffic is considered unacceptable in a local neighborhood street. I don't know if you have the two reports I attached, the JMAR reports. On the first one, you'll see that the JMAR recording device, it was deployed near 262 Mohawk Street at 7:03 on Thursday, June 6, 2024, and removed on June 11, 2024 at 9:45, which is roughly 5 days and 3 hours. The report recorded 6,677 vehicles in this time frame. The highest reported speed was 38 miles an hour. Now keep in mind, this is a city block, literally one city block. So 38 miles an hour in one city block, and they give a 9-mile-an-hour variance, which I don't really understand in a neighborhood, 9 miles an hour over. So there was reported 6,677 vehicles in that one stretch. That has to be over 25% of the people that live on Mohawk Street in that area. Also, I see a big dangerous problem with the traffic coming south on Mohawk when you get to Airport Boulevard trying to directly cross over to Mohawk. I've seen more accidents. I mean, it is very, very dangerous. You got airport traffic coming both directions and people basically paying farther to get across the road. Again, the second report, I don't know if y'all have it. If not, I can get it to you. The second JMAR device was deployed near 203 Mohawk Street, which is between Claremont and Old Government. Again, one city block with not one speed deterrence in that area. There's nothing. It's literally like a drag strip right there. So you had 5,670 vehicles with the highest speed reported of 41 miles an hour. Again, one city block, 41 miles an hour.
And Mr. Owens,
I extend one.
Okay, you have one more minute, Mr. Penn. Mr. Owens, one more minute.
Okay. So in that time frame, you have 5,670 vehicles. That's in 4 days. And keep in mind, that's only 2 days of morning traffic. 5,600 vehicles on a neighborhood street in 4 days seems like a lot as a resident that lives on there. And I just wanted to see what could be done what studies. I've talked to the traffic engineers. There's 266 homes in that stretch. 5,600 cars or 6,600 cars in that time frame is common sense says it's over 25%.
Mr. Pennant, additional addition?
Yes, yeah, it'll be and it'll move to Councilman Carroll's in 2025. And I thank you, Mr. Orange. You know, we had
Yes, sir.
thank you for coming down, and I definitely got the report. And in our Midtown meeting, you shared those concerns, and that traffic area you're correct. We're having those challenges. With now having this report now, what from the administration side, I don't see engineer, Nick, but traffic, that would be Jennifer, right?
If we can get the report and review it, we'll review it and see where adjustments might be able to be made. You know, with that area, part of town, it's a grid, so it is a little challenging to deal with traffic related stuff there. The speed limits, we'll look at that and see if there's possible speed deterrent techniques we can do to try to bring it down. In addition with the enforcement, I mean, those two kind of go hand in hand to make the most amount of improvements possible.
And that's one of the things that we did request in that enforcement area. The key. So we'll take those report. Thank you, Mr. Orange, for coming.
Right.
We'll connect with the administration and look at those next steps.
I appreciate it. With that being said, I mean, as enforcement, I understand that, but still 25% is not acceptable by the city policy.
Yeah, and
so
I
don't
told, yeah.
know, and I've actually spoke with the engineering department, and they said, well, there's a special study we'll have to do and bring in a third party, and it's got to be approved by the city, and literally people have to stand on one end of the streets and record tag numbers. I mean, I understand it may be a cost involved, but I think this is an issue that's been long overdue that needs to be resolved. But I appreciate y'all's time.
Yeah,
thank you so much. Yes, sir.
All right.
Madam Clerk.
Renee Chapa,
Ms. Chapa, present. Madam Clerk.
Marvin Charles Liu,
President, administration, and to the citizens of Mobile. I stand simply to share some comments regarding creating opportunities for underserved communities. We have currently heard about many discussions regarding affordable housing. And my understanding of affordable housing is not what we saw with James, Florida, JJ, Thelma, and Walona on Good Times. My understanding of affordable housing is communities coming together, having a voice and a say in what type of development will make their neighborhoods that much better. And we have communities here in Mobile who would love that opportunity, who need that opportunity in order for as possible. I believe this benefits us all from districts 1 through 7, because when all of Mobile feels that they have worth and they have value, then our city truly not only becomes one, but we become better. For those who feel that certain communities will get special attention, if we're all a part of one Mobile, if we're all a part of one community, why would you not want to see other communities prosper as your community is prospering? We are not leaving and playing favorites, but we're also believing that affordable housing will create opportunities of fairness so that our children will be able to live in environments that are healthy, that are thriving, and that are prosperous. Where I pastor is a place that would benefit greatly from these new opportunities. Where I live would would benefit greatly from these new opportunities. Where you serve would benefit from these new opportunities. I pray these discussions move forward in order for all of us to benefit from the growth that is happening here in Mobile and that is to come. Thank you for your time and attention.
Madam Clerk.
Jerome McNeil,
Mr. McNeil present. Madam Clerk.
Timothy Hollis,
Timothy Hollis. The issue I just want to speak about briefly, heard you all talking about it at pre-council, so I know that you are quite aware. There's been a time frame here where council has actually met with those utility companies who have come right behind you guys and destroyed your capital improvement funds. You know, I get to that point just by simply knowing that our city's way older, almost 80 older than the whole country. That means our infrastructure is quite old as well. So I understand that we can't fix the infrastructure everywhere at one time. I get all that. The only thing that strikes me the most is, you know, you have a street like Donald Street in Tomerville, a street that probably gets 5,000, 6,000 cars on it a day inside a residential neighborhood. And it finally gets that CIP job done, and you smooth that road out. All the kids that go to LaFleur are happy. Everyone who uses the park is happy. But then 2 weeks later, Mobile Water comes and cuts a box in the street. Then 2 weeks after that, that box starts sinking. Then 2 weeks after that, they come back and put another patch over it. And we waited 40, 50 years to get the street fixed. So I remember at a time, Councilman Richardson, he would always hold those entities accountable for what they done. And he even suggested, and I don't know if we followed through with that, that they should be the responsible party for doing a full repair back on those streets when they cut them immediately after we just did work on them. So I'm not here to gripe, complain. I'm sure that's something we all could agree with. So let's just see what we can do. You know, let's get a meeting with all these entities because we're treated like a family reunion. You know, you love your cousin no matter what. Those are our cousins. They help keep the streets flowing, the entities or utilities, all that stuff. They help that go. But when we come back together at that family reunion, there's nothing like having a handshake and a hug just to remind each other that we're all in this together. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hollis, for coming down. Our Vice President Gregory had mentioned in pre-council this morning, it's not the full length, but it's a big part of that. They had to go back and do that. And they do that still because we had an incident on Washington Avenue, and they had to come and do it and everything. But thank you so much for coming down.
Mr. President.
Vice President.
I will add that it was our former colleague, Mr. Richardson, who really spearheaded what we wound up doing, which is holding the utilities responsible for coming back and making those repairs. You'll see throughout the city the little, to look like a little saucer, little plate that you put into the ground that signifies which utility has made the I guess not a cut, but it's a cut in the street where there leaves a pothole, basically. So all of the utilities are required to come back and make an improvement. It's not just another pothole, but it is a length of asphalt that they have to do, which means milling it up and then laying the asphalt. The city now is doing the same thing based on what we make utilities do. Now the city is doing that with potholes as well. So we are well aware of the issues. And some time ago, we took the initiative spearheaded by Councilman Richardson to change the way the city does business with utilities. And, you know, the utility companies are willing to work with us. It doesn't always come off like we would hope. There are instances where they do come behind us sometimes, and it is frustrating, but they do come back and make those improvements.
Mr. President.
Mr. Days and Mr. Penn.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. And thank you, Mr. Hollis, for being here today. This problem that has come up, didn't come up today. We've been dealing with it forever. You know, as you said, we go out and we repave a street, and a short time later, it's been dug up again. It's obviously frustrating for all of us. It has a lot of moving parts. You know, we can go out there, and as Mr. Amberger said today, before we go out and resurface the street, we contact all the utilities and ask them if they got any work that needs to be done underneath. But, you know, especially in the older part of the cities, older parts of the city. We can go out there, Mr. Amber can do that. They can say nothing's wrong. We go out there and repave it, and then something breaks underneath, and someone's not getting any water or something like that, and it has to go be dug back up. Obviously regrettable. We've put measures in place to try to make sure that, that the people who are digging it up come back and make it as right as they can make it within a cost. Now, I think a lot of people lose track that the way it works is they have to dig it up. They come in, they put what's called a temporary patch in, because once they dig it up, they have to wait some time for the dirt or rock, whatever it is underneath, to settle, to come back and make a permanent patch, which is what Councilwoman Gregory was just talking about. But Councilman Richardson, one of the things we dealt with when we were dealing with this before was, well, it's dug up. Who dug it up? Who needs to come back and make the permanent patch? And that's why we put these little discs in. But it's obviously a problem. It's a big problem. It's all over the city. It's particularly egregious in the older parts of the city. I understand that. If there were an easy, cheap solution, we would have found it by now. But we continue to work on it, and thank you for being here today.
Mr. Penn?
Thank you, Mr. President. And I was about to say a lot of that what Joel and Councilman Gregory stated, but thank you, Mr. Hollis, for coming down here. And congratulations on your initial sermon, and praying for you and your family as well. What you stated, Councilman Richardson, actually showed me those medallions in District 1. Those utility companies supposed to come back and, like you said, do those patches. But one of the things, like you stated, we can do it better. And one of the things that I was so grateful for, Keisha Brown, I have reached out to her about different things in our district, and she went out with some of the utility companies and was showing different areas of saying, like, okay, why are we still waiting? It's like, is that a city job? Is that a utility job? And so we have to start working on ways how we can figure out that process and speed it up faster for our constituents and our community. So I agree that we do have to work on it and find ways how we can work that process a little better and a little faster as well. But I'm grateful for Councilman Richardson, and thank you for coming down and sharing your concerns.
Madam Clerk?
Council President.
Yes.
Just a quick comment. We're aware of the problem of being able to coordinate with MAWS and try to determine if it's a city issue with drainage or is it a MAWS issue with either sewage or water lines. At the recommendation of Nick Amberger, we've got a meeting scheduled with MAWS, and I've already talked to MAWS about this, about trying to retain a common contractor between the two that can investigate these issues and then take the pictures, document it, and then build the appropriate agency that's responsible for that. I think you'll see that meeting is next week. That will really expedite the process of getting these types of problems addressed.
Mr. President, let me thank Chief of Staff Barber for that. We exchanged a few text messages after pre-council today where he actually made that statement. That's probably the most important process here. A lot of times what the general public doesn't realize is that there could be multiple actions underneath the ground involving both the city and MAWS. And one would come in and say, no, that's not my responsibility, that's yours. One would only take care of one piece of the responsibility, and the other one would still be waiting on the other person. So having one integral contractor will help us to resolve that issue and have one person actually do both sides of the work in order to get it done in a timely process. The other thing is that I think that, and I didn't mention this morning, but we need some type of regulative responsibility for time, as Councilman Penn just mentioned. There's some places in my district where there were holes in the ground for as long as 6 months, and they continue to sink. There was one place in between Washington Avenue and Dearborn Street beside the Kappa House that went from a 4-inch hole to a 5-inch hole about 3 foot deep. Those are the types of things that hurt us when we're dealing with erosion under the ground and they continue to sink. The same type of problem is at the corner of Michigan Avenue and Texas Street, where it's been asphalted over 5, 6, 7, 8 times, but we're not taking care of the actual leak under the ground because of identifying the problems. those are the things that one singular contractor will be able to help us with to resolve. I commend you on making the first step to get that done. I'll be glad to see that happen, but it will be beneficial to our constituency best in the city, and not just District 2, because District 2 is the oldest part of our city. There are places in District 2 where we still have logs in the ground that carry water that some of you don't even know about. So, I mean, we are extremely old downtown. And by the way, for those who have said that Hillsdale is the oldest Black community in the city, I beg to differ. You know, you got Fishers that we call the Bottom that's been around before the Civil War. We got Costas that's along Crawford Lane that's been just shortly after the Civil War. So we know that we have some very old communities in District 2 that definitely need help, and not to even mention the campground in Maysville. So, Jim, as you make progress on this, please keep us updated. Let me know what I can do to help speed that up. I'd be very grateful if I could lend any experience in dealing with a horizontal road work.
Madam Clerk.
Andre Doherty, regarding Resolution 02-8826.
Thank you, Mayor, for allowing me this privilege. Thank you, Ms. Gregory, my councilwoman, and also all the city council. I am thankful for this opportunity to speak. My name is Andrew Doherty. I live at 2502 Legends Row in the Magnolia Grove communities. It's adjacent to the land in discussion of being annexed from the city of Sims. I have lived in Mobile area for the last 37 years, 23 of those at my current location there in Magnolia Grove. Growth and development. I have a great relationship with the mayor of Sims. I am executive pastor of Pathway Church. I'm very active in the city of Sims, as evident of being named Citizen of the Year in 2021. I am a volunteer public safety chaplain for the city of Sims. I volunteer with the city of Mobile in their SCORE program, helping people with their lives. I also am an active member, our church is, of the Chamber of Commerce. Since 2016, our church has given away to children in our area of our campuses, which are 5 campuses, over $350,000. So we are very invested in our community, and I'm very thankful. I am thankful for new development because it means an opportunity to minister to some more people. But today I speak as a resident of the city. It's come to my attention that one of the proposals for this land is a development of 800 to 900 homes. That poses some issues. Specifically, the entrance will mainly be entered off of Schillinger Road, but the development will eventually back up to my subdivision, the Legends at Magnolia Grove. And if I'm understanding correctly, there may be a proposal that they would use my quiet little street as an access and egress. So 850 to 900 homes, 1,600 cars potentially street where I live to drive. Now the dangers are this. At night, they close the gates of the golf course. So it is a natural tendency for people to want to cut through lamplighter during the day, which is fine, and I do that. At night, we go around. This would open up a permanent shortcut for these areas. Now, one of the areas, that should sound familiar, there was a homicide there just Sunday morning, and those residents would have direct access to come through, thus bypassing going to Schillinger all the way to Moffett down toward town. So that is a problem. There's a problem with increased traffic, noise, crime, and all of those things. I believe it would have a detrimental effect. I live on the street. My grandson lives across the street, and when he gets a little older, he's going to come see his pop, and I just worry about the traffic there. Robert Trent Jones, is that time up or right? Okay.
Councilman Gregory gave you 1 minute. 1 minute.
Okay. The Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail is one of Mobile's greatest gems. I moved there because it was in the city, the amenities, the quietness of that. I enjoy the golfers that come from all over the country. I enjoy the weddings. I hear the weddings at night and all those things. And so I'm here to protect the investment that you have already made in the city. for the quality of life of the city. Now, again, I'm not opposed to a development if there's a situation that can be resolved without this access, and then we can go forward.
President.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor, for coming down. And I hear some talking over here. Again, I appreciate you coming down, and we certainly understand the issue that you have brought to us. Some other members of the City Council are familiar with what you've been talking about. We know that there is a process that has to go forward. Same thing in the City of Mobile, City of Sims. I believe in talking to some people within the City of Sims and then here on my dais with other council members that there is a real effort that will be made to consider all of the problems that you have discussed. They'd be very open to whatever will work best for all of the residents as well as the two cities. I think what you have just told us is really a tale of how two cities can partner together and work together, especially with the participation that you have in the City of Sims and being a resident of the City of Mobile. So I believe we are certainly open to making sure that everything works best for both Sims and the City of Mobile and the residents in Mobile and those that will be next door neighbors in the City of Sims. That ought to be interesting in and of itself. Yeah. So again, I think as we go forward, there will be some ways to discuss and make things better and be open to all considerations. But there will be a process, I'm sure, and you will be a part of that process. I know you have a great relationship with the mayor of Sims, and he is a good working partner with the City of Mobile. So I think everything will work out for the best.
Madam Clerk.
Gloria.
Council President, can I?
Sure. Chief.
I just wanted to comment on having come up with a law enforcement career. Access control is very important to neighborhoods as far as safety of the neighborhood. And so I'm a strong advocate of it. I did put in a call to talk about this annexation and some other issues that are joint between the City of Mobile and the City of Sims. Mobile has a process to where the developer would have to meet with the communities that are impacted in order to hear these types of concerns. I don't know if the City of Sims has. We don't have any legal authority to direct anything in Sims, but I'll certainly bring up the issues that have been brought up today about access control. The older neighborhoods Nick referred to with these street grids, very difficult to control the access. You see the problems that causes.
invest, or allocate governmental funds in this part of town. Well, I ask you, why not? Why should we not invest in two neighborhoods that are located 1 mile from the Alabama state docks that provide over 350,000 jobs a year? Two neighborhoods that are located 2.5 miles from Ulster with 1,800 employees, 5 miles from Airbus with 4,000 employees, and less than 3 miles from 3 major hospitals with 12,000 employees. Why not? Why not invest in building single-family homes in those two neighborhoods that can alleviate the housing shortages that currently exist in our downtown area? Why not? Why not develop neighborhoods where small businesses can thrive and city revenue can thrive? Why not invest in capital and cooperative districts and show all of Mobile that we are truly one Mobile and not just West Mobile, especially when it's looking for a place to live? So I'm asking each of our city council members, the mayor of Mobile and his great staff, to all come together and work as one unified team and approve the Capital Cooperative District. Why? Because it's the best thing to do for the future growth of the city of Mobile. Thank you.
Sabrina Mass, for Resolution 14775.
Good morning. So I'm here to speak about Resolution 14775. So the issue that I have is I just want to know why now? Why now? There has been land sold, people displaced from their homes, people still displaced from their homes, from land that has been sold that people lived on. Why now? Yes, there is a need for affordable housing all over the city of Mobile, Alabama, but why now? Long advocate, Ms. Trotter, she's in court right now at Government Plaza fighting to stay in her home because she has gotten an eviction. An advocate that has gotten displaced from her home. But why now? 3 years. And also, did I just hear them say they're going to take money from the reserve and put it to the Civic Center? This is getting out of control. This is ridiculous. There is definitely a need for housing. But at what cost would the taxpayers have to keep going? We don't even know the detriment of the city right now as far as money. There has been so much money lost in the last 3 years that we don't know what's going on. There's lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit pending right now. There is definitely a need for housing. But we can't be going to this blind side stuff. No. And then there was talk about building a board from who? Who you gonna put on the board? Just people? And the city's not gonna have any input and say, no. It's too much money being moved around, too much money being wasted, too much drama is happening in this city. And the citizens are not comfortable. And I believe, honestly, I speak for many, many citizens in this city. It's not that we don't need affordable housing, but it's not clear. This proposal is unclear. It's very unclear. So you want city money, county money, and private money. Who's going to be narrating all this? See, this is a broken system right now, and the people are broken as well. We need clarity before anything moves as far as money figures. And bring the citizens, the advocates, many advocates to the table if you want to be transparent. See, people keep moving these chess pieces around, putting who likes them and who agrees with them. No, put the people on the tables that can sit there and have a conversation and look at the real pictures of things and say, this is how it should go, to be fair on both sides. See, the problem is in this city right now, people are taking business and personal and linking it together, and people as myself and others are trying to conduct business. But then some people take personal things to heart. We're about business. I am a taxpayer. I have worked hard my whole life my husband and I, as many have. We're taxpayers. Listen to us sometime. Thank you, CJ. Councilor Small.
Eric Finley regarding Resolution 14775.
Good morning, Eric Finley. I'm here to support the Capital Cooperative District Plan. I am a fourth generation native of Mobile. My paternal grandparents established their residence in what we colloquially call the bottom in the 1870s. My maternal grandparents lived in the campground. I attended nursery school, grammar school in the area, and my whole life has been spent in the campground, and we refer to as the bottom. And at a time, there were 6 schools, at least 14 plus churches in that area. And this is the core of the pride and the joy of the people that grew up and lived in that community. Some of you, all as I looked around, may not have remembered Davis Avenue, which is now known as Dr. Martin Luther King Avenue. And there was a time when 90% of those businesses were owned by African Americans that lived in that community. And let me tell you, there was a day life and there was a night life, but it was a community. It was a community where people bonded together. You didn't see anyone walking around with signs that said, we'll work for food, because you could go to anyone's house and get something to eat, okay? This council, as it's been said earlier, can look at reasons to approve this versus reasons not to. If we go to the old Ben Franklin kind of decision-making process, I'm almost positive that we would have more reasons to approve it than we do not to approve it. Just for sentimental purposes, and I noticed something for the first time, the streets, plum, peach, pecan. Someone had a vision. It wasn't the dump that was established there in the 40s, long after that community was there. Care about human life. And so removal come through that did not renew anything, which was the demise of that community. This is an opportunity for us to renew, to repair, to bring life back into that community. And I truly believe that we will then see the commercialization start back. No one's going to invest in a community with a dump. And of course, the dump is closed now, and we've embellished it with the landfill name, but there is no investments. And this is an opportunity to start that process over and to bring that life and joy and pride that's still there. If you know anything about anyone that lives in that community or anyone that's ever lived in Mobile, if they come back, they want to go to the Avenue. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. Madam Clerk.
David Frazier regarding Resolution 14775.
Good morning. I'm here in support of the Capital Improvement Cooperative District and hope that you would consider it. I've had several conversations with Councilman Small and Councilman Carroll over the years about housing in District 2 and 3. About 10 years ago or so, I encouraged the residents of the area to participate in what was then the Choice Neighborhood Project through the Mobile Housing Board. We know that that fell through in that area. We are in need of housing. We are in need of housing in general, but we're also in need of affordable housing. So I ask that you would consider this plan. I looked over the Alabama Cooperative District Act, and it was done for a reason, to create other paths and opportunities for communities to develop outside of the old school, or we would say our fathers' CIPs.
So what this is it's different. It's not a threat to the city, but it's a different way of improving our communities. And I ask that you would please, sir, please, ma'am, consider it.
Thank you. Madam Clerk.
Mr. President,
Yes, Ms. Carroll.
yeah, let me just get a few words in here real quick. First, let me thank all of you for coming down and speak today. Especially those of you that are still living in the bottom, the campground in Maysville, and living in neighborhoods that are deteriorating or underserved. Especially those of you that have been in these neighborhoods beyond 50 years and watched them go from a high to a low. Watch them or the face of the neighborhood change. I look at neighborhoods like this sometimes in the heart of our city when they're decaying, and sometimes I compare them to a bushel of apples where you have one apple that's rotting within the bunch or within the center of the entire bushel. And when you look at neighborhoods like this that are decaying within the heart of our city, then we need to do something about it. When you look at neighborhoods like this that are underserved, where we're not responding quickly to houses that have kudzu going through them, houses that are laying over on the side, roads that also need improvement, yards that aren't cut. But when people call me and they say, William or Councilman, what about this kudzu on this lot? It needs to be cut just like it is over in another part of town. They're right. It needs to be done. Especially when I have somebody calling me on McDonald Avenue to cut a median where the grass isn't even 3 to 4 inches high or a foot high. But in these neighborhoods, I have grass that's 6 foot tall, growing through windows and pulling houses down. That's not right. In these neighborhoods, I have empty lots that are rodent driven. That's not right. In these neighborhoods, we have people that deserve to live just like any other neighborhood, and that is right. In these neighborhoods, we have the opportunity to rebuild, to revitalize, and that's what should happen. Revitalization in communities is an utmost. We should not look past the neighborhoods that are deteriorating and want to go west, especially when they're in the heart of our city. These neighborhoods are in the heart of our downtown. They're not 3 miles from the central business district of what we call the city of Mobile. Not 3 miles from the central business district. And to be poignant about it, they're Black neighborhoods. Who cares about the Black neighborhoods? I do. And I'm not, and I'm not one that bypasses any other neighborhood because I treat them all the same. You can pick up the phone. I am very responsive, especially when we have people saying that, oh my God, William Carroll has all these ideas and, he belches them, but they never come to pass. But I tell you what, my constituents can reach me. The people that you are serving that live in certain Hope 6 projects that can't even get you to come out and fix a hole in the wall. But I am here to help fix, to drive and to hopefully find some type of synergies between the administration and the ideas that I have. Over the last week, I've been talking back and forth with the Chief of Staff administration. Today, I've asked that we hold this over 1 week because they have some ideas that they would like to talk about, but better yet, even an idea where they would like to merge the two plans together. They would like to see the program run from inside the city, where I think it would be better outside the city because I'm concerned about the amount of time that it takes to get a project from concept to completion. We all know that we have some capital projects here in the city of Mobile that are still on the books that have been there for 3 years now. And that's not something I want to see happen to this program. I want to have a program where we're producing, if possible, 3 to 5 projects a year that within the funding that we have to make sure that we're creating block equity, to where we have people that are wanting to restore those neighborhoods. The glory of creating block equity is it brings in other developers. It incentivizes because we as a city or county, we can go in places where we can do things and wait where other developers can't. And when we do that, it encourages them to come in and build. A prime example of that is the new development that's now taking place in Oakley, right there at the corner of Church Street and Marine Street. 22 years ago, when it all started in Oakley, prostitutes stood on that corner. Drug dealers walked up and down the street from Marine Street to Texas Street. Today, you wouldn't recognize the whole neighborhood simply because the same idea, the same effort that we're trying to put forward with affordable housing in the campground, the bottom, Maysville, Hillsdale, Oakdale, Mobile Terrace was done there. Look at it now. Why can't we do it in our neighborhoods? Why is it such a threat to invest $2 million of capital funds in our neighborhoods that fosters affordable housing and neighborhood revitalization? Why does that feel like I feel like there's some council members feel as if though, and I'm not pointing fingers or saying anything, that there's a possible threat somehow to another district or leaving another district out in doing this? As the city ages, there will be other parts of our city that will need this, no matter where they are. There are parts of every district that are decaying quickly, where the neighborhoods are changing. Imogene Street, then between Sage and coming back down towards Dolphin, neighborhoods changing. Navco over at Dog River, behind off, changing, reducing, need help soon. Morningside will need help soon. These neighborhoods will also be able to benefit from the program if it continues to grow. But the glory of the program is not just affordable housing, it's workforce housing, attainable housing. And with block equity, it encourages luxury housing and market value housing in the same neighborhoods, creating what's called a true neighborhood. And not just a neighborhood of affordable housing and attainable housing, but a true neighborhood. That is the neighborhood that I remember in the bottom, in the campground in Maysville. That's the neighborhood when I remember the Finleys and Dr. Finley and Dr. Franklin and Dr. Carroll, because I'm going to say Dr. Carroll because my family lived there. That's the community I remember when Katie Crenshaw Carroll taught half the community with her school in the bottom. That's the community I remember when the Lafitte's lived in that community, and the Antones, and we did our work. That is what we need to be looking and trying to do when we're talking about affordable housing in our community. We need to be concentrating not on the word affordable, but on the word revitalize. To revitalize a part of our city that needs the growth and the expansion. To add new rooftops that encourage development of commercial businesses and the growth of tax bases. That is what I'm looking and hoping that we can do. And in talking to the mayor and to the chief of staff, I hope that over tomorrow's meeting at 8:30, that we'll be able to find a way to merge both programs and make it work for the benefit of this entire city. We may not do it as a capital cooperative district, but we will hopefully find a way tomorrow to make this work so that we can revitalize our neighborhoods, all of our neighborhoods. Thank you, Mr. President.
Madam Vice President.
Yes, sir, Mr.
I hate to
Reynolds.
get in this long, drawn-out discussion and debate here on the floor. We had a committee meeting on this particular issue last week where, some issues were raised in that committee meeting. And then in previous introductions of a similar plan to this, there was also some issues raised. Nobody's here. I know it's, there's an effort to say that there are certain people that are against affordable housing or make this a black and white issue or a West Mobile issue versus an east side of the city issue. It's simply not it. This is about being good stewards of the taxpayers' money. Currently, housing services are being provided by a plethora of government entities. The Mobile Housing Board. Think about the money that's spent through them. Billions of dollars or millions of dollars come from the federal government. Local resources go into their operation. currently, if you look at our budget, I mean, Jamie Roberts' department and the housing department spend millions of dollars trying to address this issue. And although it is correct that they're not necessarily accomplishing all the goals that they want to, or revitalization is not happening at a high enough rate, but to say that we want to now create a totally separate government entity with an operational staff that has to pay salaries and everything else, and that they're going to now resolve this issue with all these duplications of services, I'd prefer the services go to the issue. So I don't like the you're against affordable housing. No, couldn't be further from the truth. But I am in favor of doing whatever we do efficiently and purposefully without saying water down the view of the people that elected us to the job by sort of subverting the power and authority to an unelected board of 13 that is going to be in charge of the entire city and most of the county as a whole. I think that's a mistake. I think it's a strategic mistake. I hope that Mr. Carroll is able to sort of find some common ground with the administration to work through solutions that get to the core of the problem without duplicating services and watering down the effect of every single dollar that is collected by the city, county, state, and federal government. Thank you, Madam Vice President.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Reynolds.
Reggie Hill, regarding resolutions 14,775, 01,795, 37,801, and 08,836.
Thank you, Madam Assistant City Clerk. To the citizens and stakeholders of Mobile, greetings. Reggie Hill is my name. For the sake of time and because it seems to be a more touchy subject today, two of those matters I'm going to say and address next week. But the primary two, I do want to look at 37-801. To my understanding, this was sent to executive session. Last week was the first read. I'm appreciative of the gentleman responding then. I hope that same sentiment will be in place so that this can be looked over. A lot of times people get the surface levels of what's happening with situations, and Ms. Johnson actually spoke with me directly, and she's hoping to get some of these things remedied. And so there could be just additional time to see what could be found. That would be greatly appreciated. Moving to 14-775, and this is dealing with this cooperative district. And I want to be very clear when I began speaking on this. It's surprising to come from the administration, and kudos that the idea of not wanting to privatize, whether it's been infrastructure, whether it's been public works, whether it's been our recreation facilities, whether it's been sanitation, whether it's been everything for the past 10 years has been about privatizing. So it's actually good to see that something is going to be drawn to be in-house, where I think we will have better accountability that can be held. I addressed this the last time that this was brought up. This was nothing personal to Mr. Carroll about this idea, because yet while they're moving in a better direction, we still have not seen anything that is sound from the administration in dealing with this issue, which has been happening for generations. My disdain, however, comes with the idea of utilizing capital resources. We just spoke about the infrastructure in itself. And the thing that gets me is, like, we do this year after year after year, and yet we have these additional resources with CIP. We know that there was a miscellaneous of $5 million one year, then it went to $9 million, then it went to $15 million. Then we're touting that now it's at $32 million. So you mean to tell me we haven't figured out resources to highlight these matters that are overarching as being the difficulties within the city, and then where can come from? We also heard today, forgive me if I'm wrong, because it's very concise when we have these reports, but we have how much in the reserve fund? And we're talking about pulling these resources from stuff that should be going towards drainage. We have how much in the reserves? Like millions, lots of millions. And we would rather take those resources to go for brick and mortar, talking about demolishing a building rather than helping people have somewhere to live. I don't understand what our priorities are. So the idea is not that this is not an issue that we need to steer away from, but it's how we're going to spend the money. And I think if we have reserves, there are also state grants, there are also federal grants, there are also a lot of ways that we can get involved and actually tackle this without it being an encumbrance to everybody else, and it is pitting us against one another. Because what's going to happen is, if we don't resolve it and address it now fully, it's going to be far worse for the safety piece of it, and that's infrastructure and criminal related. Thank you on the floor. We'll continue the conversation.
Mr. President.
Mr. Carroll?
Thank you,
Mr. Hill, you
President.
can have a seat. It's fine. He's just gonna.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Do you have questions for Mr.
Madam
Hill?
Vice President, I'm not going to answer those questions directly, but I will say
Thank
this. We talking about the Civic Center, $4.5 million to be spent on a capital project, even though it's coming from the general fund. We have $268 million that we're going to spend on a new arena for entertainment and to entertain ourselves and to entertain others. $35 million that we're spending on a parking deck for parking to also partner with the Corps of Engineers, but to also add to the parking for our new arena. We have over $1 million in expenditures on today's agenda alone, but we want to complain about $2 million of money going towards revitalization in a neighborhood that's falling apart. I don't get it. We want to spend $300 million on a civic center, which we have to borrow. Borrow, get it? We got to borrow the money. We don't have it, but it's okay to do that. But it's not okay to revitalize a neighborhood. There is something wrong with that picture. There's something ultimately wrong with it. When you care more about going to a ball and accommodating the Mardi Gras associations than you do about revitalizing the heart of the city, I have a fundamental philosophy or a fundamental purpose that is wrong. So to say we want to be stewards of our money, to say that we want to spend it appropriately, then let's get the money into the places where it directly impacts the people. Not everybody goes down to the arena and dances. Not everybody's going to park in that parking lot. Not everybody works for the Corps of Engineers. But I guarantee you a lot of people are going to go down MLK. And a lot of people, when we do this right, will live in the campground, the Bottom, Maysville, Hillsdale, Oakdale, Mobile Terrace, and other places. Thank you, Mr. President.
Ms. Vice President.
All right, Mr. Daves.
You know, everybody is in favor of affordable housing. Everybody. And we're all in favor of affordable housing in underserved areas of the city because it helps the city. So this effort to ascribe improper motives to those of us who have concerns about the way this is being done is inappropriate. It's inappropriate. We can all agree on a goal, which we do. We can disagree on how best to get there, which we do. But ascribing improper motives to your colleagues is not the way to reach consensus.
Ms. President. Yes.
Mr. Carroll.
Yes, ma'am.
If you can keep it very short,
I
because
will.
we are not actually going to vote on this today, as you have mentioned. And
Yes,
so
ma'am.
you'll still have another day to come back with all of these comments. So if you can keep it very short, I would appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. Councilman Jones, you have a great point. And that great point is made. And that's why, in consideration of what the administration has said, and that's why every detail that we can to find common ground. But I felt it prudent to respond to a statement that was made and to make sure that I was clear in my position. And I understand yours, and I'm heartfeltly with that because it's going to take at least 5 of us to get to a common ground there. But I felt that it was most important that I respond to the statement that was made. Thank you.
Madam Vice President.
Yes, sir, Mr. Penn.
Thank you. I just want to say to we have speakers come down, and it was great seeing Coach Lane, former teacher at the greatest high school in the world, John L. LaFleur. Everybody know I represent the Rattlers. But I do want to. I want to make this statement. We know that our communities, especially District 1, 2, and 3, and 7, and even some in our other districts, need revitalization. We know that. Mr. Hill actually made a valid point. From some statements he said that when you look at our community, you look at the amount of money. I think we need a strategic plan on how to utilize to make sure that all our communities are being served properly. But I want to commend Councilman Carroll because when you don't see certain communities getting the resources needed, then you say, okay, what can I do? And I think that's what he did. And by doing that, he said, okay, let me find things that I can control. And so I commend what he was willing to use his capital improvement, which I agree with you, Mr. Hill, that I don't think that he shouldn't have to go into just his capital improvement to do those revitalizations. I think that we have to find other ways to be able to do that. Infrastructure is we have an old city. And so we should be able to really just use that for drainage and infrastructure, which I agree. But I think that from Councilman Carroll's perspective, we need to do some with revitalization as well. And sometimes you have to figure out how can I get there and can we do both? And I think bringing this program to us, it created that conversation. And when you bring collaboration, now you can start thinking about different ways how we can get there together. So I commend that with the administration. As a council, I think we have to realize the best needs for our constituents and not get up here and argue and fight. But we have to get to a place that we can move our city forward and not think everything is a shot and think everybody is mad and pushing at each other, but that we realize the best need for our community. And our community need revitalization. Our community need better entertainment. Our community need better infrastructure. And if we have a plan and we strategically do it together, then we can move forward. Thank you, Madam Vice President.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Penn. Anybody else before we move forward?
Madam Vice, we're going to have to step out, and I didn't want it to appear or give the appearance that we're stepping out because of the controversy surrounding affordable housing. I wanted to just state we're going to get ready for the 1 o'clock Finance Committee meeting, but I wanted to state the administration's position, which is very similar to what we're hearing, is that we do believe that we need to have attainable workforce in affordable housing. And that is a goal that we are all in agreement on, including the administration. After meeting with Mr. Carroll several times, we are starting to find more and more common ground between the way we would like to execute on it in his concept, which is this revitalization of the inner city neighborhoods, which we 100% agree, and not just inner city, Mobile Terrace, the areas that affect every district. But I just wanted to state that we are not that far apart. The goals are the same. We understand the concepts. We look forward to meeting with him in the morning and see if we can bridge those last little few details on how to execute on this program.
All right. Thank you, Chief. Appreciate that. And thank you, everyone who came to speak. Thanks to my colleagues, Mr. Carroll, and everyone for bringing the concept forward, getting the conversation going because it's needed. And I think we look forward to hearing what kind of compromises are worked out tomorrow moving forward with this idea. So anybody else before we move on with the agenda?
Ordinances held over. 64048, rezone property located at the south side of Coyman Road, west of Todd Acres Drive.
Move delay over 2 weeks.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Ordinance 83049, ordinance to annex certain property into the corporate limits of the city of Mobile.
Move delay over until September 24th.
Second.
Any discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
CIP resolutions held over. 21794, authorized contract with Parton Smith for parking and ADA improvements at Westside Park.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Consent resolutions held over. 40558, declare the structure at 112 Bush Avenue a public nuisance and order it demolished.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, I'll call resolutions held over. I'll call all of them out except for 14,775 and 37,801. 01761, authorize agreement with Mobile County and Spring Hill College to expand and equip existing campus with Health and Science Innovation Center. 01795, authorize agreement for grant participation from Southwest Alabama Regional Highway Safety Office for Community Traffic Safety Program. 08796 through 08800, approving purchase orders to CDW Government for annual renewal of network server management software, to GT Distributors of Georgia for respirator kits, to Shaw Integrated and Turf Solutions to replace flooring for cruise terminal, approved purchase order to Trantex Transportation Products of Texas for traffic speed cushions, and to Sunbelt Fire for fire bunker gear. 37802, consider the application of Community Care and Transportation to operate a sedan service.
So moved.
Any discussion on these resolutions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
14775, approve an application seeking permission to incorporate a capital improvement cooperative district and authorizing such incorporation.
Motion to lay over 1 week.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
37801, consider the application of Johnson & Johnson Way to Go to operate a sedan and shuttle service.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on this application? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
In opposition?
No.
No.
It fails.
Consent resolutions being introduced. 03805 through 60817.
Move to waive rules for immediate consideration of said resolutions. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
03805, appoint Alvin Garvin to the Advisory Commission on the Disabled. 58806, assess cost for removal of weeds, repeat weedling group 1655. 6807 through 6815 are determining appropriations to Mobile Law Enforcement Foundation, P.L. Wilson Detachment of the Marine Corps League Incorporated, Lily B. Williamson High School Class of 1994, Womanville Warren Street United Methodist Church, St. Stephen's Road Love Ministries, the Village of Spring Hill, Olive J. Dodge Elementary School, the Child Advocacy Center, and Downtown Mobile District Management Corporation serve a public purpose and approve payment. 6816 and 817 are approving awards of special bonus to the firefighter of the month and the city clerk's office employee of the month.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on these? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
CIP resolutions being introduced. 08830.
By council rules, this measure will lay over 1 week.
Resolutions being introduced. 01818 through 37838.
By council rules, these resolutions will lay over 1 week.
Announcements.
All right, we'll start with Councilman Woods.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Just want to kind of make a couple notes. West Side today we approved the ADA compliance, sidewalks, and also parking. That's coming from CIP. That's been a long time in the works, and I know a lot of times, there's a lot of confusion around West Side initially years ago, but now fully recognize it's a city park, and just want to say that's an initial investment from CIP to start bringing things up to speed. So I do appreciate the group out at Westside. We want to say they had close to 600 kids playing last season. Looking forward to another great season. But would also ask the minister ball coming up and all kinds of stuff. So if we can be very cognizant while we work around that. Also want to just kind of say thank you to Ms. Smith and Mr. Vassallo for coming out last night and their whole team and the administration and Keisha. Thank y'all for addressing the Boyce Drive issues that we have ongoing through there. So thank you for taking time and coming out and meeting with them. Hopefully we've got a plan of action moving forward. Also today there's a development, McFarland, Cottage Hill, around that area. There's a community meeting at 4 o'clock at the Azalea Hill Christian Life Center. So definitely want to make that everyone aware of that. I will be in attendance, plan to be in attendance there. And then finally, September 24th at 5:30 at the Connie Hudson Senior have our next community District 6 wide meeting. So look forward to that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilman Carroll?
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. President. Mrs. Vice President, sorry. First of all, let me congratulate Mobile PD. I forgot to do that this morning. This weekend, Chris Edwards, whose foundation is 59 South, sponsored a gridiron grill-off of barbecue at the Mobile River Shack out on Dog River, which was an extreme success. Mostly the players were from the SEC, a bunch of old football players that played way back in the 80s and 90s. We had even one that was played for the Bear when he was playing football, a bunch of HBCU guys and All-Americans that played football together probably 35 years ago. All the money went to a charitable cause, and it was just a great event. Great sponsor event, especially for all the youth that were there, and just to see us being out there as positive role models. John Young, I was surprised to actually know that he and his crew could actually cook barbecue because it was all numbered, and I was shocked. So congratulations to the Mobile PD for winning. The other thing is that this morning I asked the administration for an update on what happened on Paper Mill Road and the racing that's been happening on Paper Mill Road, and asked that they immediately start looking into a way to prevent the racing that's been happening on Paper Mill Road and that quarter-mile stretch out there that's been going on now since I've been back in office for at least 2 years that I'm aware of it. So hopefully we'll have some for the citizens of the Plateau Africatown community soon as to what steps and measures that we're going to take to try to resolve that. Thank you, Madam Vice President, for that opportunity and announcements.
All right, Councilman Daves?
Thank you. There will be a meeting of the City Council's Finance Committee at 1 o'clock. This meeting is designed for the City Council members who have questions or want to ask the administration about the proposed budget for the next fiscal year. It's a work session. No public comment will be taken. Public comment will be taken next week at this meeting at the public hearing on the budget. Thank you, Madam Vice President.
All right, Councilman Penn?
Thank you, Madam Vice President. This Friday, we will have the Battle of District 1. That's UMS Wright versus John L. LaFleur High School. Come out, have fun. And it's a great opportunity to support two schools that's located in the District 1 community, as well as soon you will be hearing more information about the Adopt a Block community plan that we're asking individuals as well as churches as well as business to adopt the block. And then we also will be talking more about our ambassador program that will be coming. We will ask people to be ambassadors in District 1. So more information will be coming soon about both of those programs, but come out this Friday for the Battle of District 1, UMS Wright versus John L. LaFleur Magnet School. Thank you, Madam Vice President.
All right, thank you. Councilman Reynolds? All right, do I have a motion?